Welcome once again to the Sal Santori Show, where each week we bring to you, our listeners, interviews with information that is both current and useful. Thank you for listening, and I am your host, Sal Santori. Let's open the show.
I'm coming home.
When you say you support the troops, do you mean it? Hi, this is Lou Diamond Phillips for the Veterans of Foreign Wars. Every day, more service members are coming home from combat. In many cases, they return to no job, no money, and a lifetime of stress. That's where the VFW steps in, providing emergency financial support with their Unmet Needs program. For over 100 years, no one has done more for veterans than the VFW.
Please help us help them by calling 1-855-9-HELP-VET.
When you need an electrical contractor, what is the most important thing to your family? Safety, right? The good folks at County Electrical and Mechanical want the exact same thing for your family. In fact, they put every effort into their work to offer a safe, custom solution unique to your needs. Whether it's upgrading equipment, adding outlets, or a brand new service, commercial or residential, their goal is to satisfy every customer requirement safely and promptly. When you want to have work done and know your family is safe and the work is done right the first time, call County Electrical and Mechanical at 570-527-8107. That number again is 570-527-8107. Call today. Welcome once again to another Sal Santori radio show, and we're glad you're here listening today. In keeping with our promise, today's guest is Mr. Bill Reed, who is the Veteran Service Director at the YWCA in Harrisburg. And Bill, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show with us today.
Well, thank you, Sal. I appreciate being here.
We really appreciate you making the time. I know how busy you are in the work that you do, and it's exactly that we want to kind of let folks know about. Tell us a little bit about some of the things that are able to be accessed service-wise and resource-wise for our men and women veterans coming to the Harrisburg YWCA.
Well, great. So thanks again for the opportunity. Well, you know, the YWCA has been here in Harrisburg for over 125 years, and our mission is to eliminate racism, empower women, and promote peace, justice, freedom, and dignity for all. And that really aligns with helping veterans, homeless veterans, and at-risk veterans throughout Central PA. So we're very fortunate to have a number of programs here where we can provide veterans with housing, supported services, employment services, healthcare navigation, legal services, just a whole variety of different things to help them either find housing or keep the housing they're in, or, you know, prevent them from being in a situation where they find themselves without a home.
Well, speaking of housing, do you work closely with, there's a program through the VA, I'm not sure the initials exactly, it's like SBBA,
Sure.
Something along those lines. I know I'm close,
Sure.
but I'm not quite there. But could you tell us about that? Like, how do you work together to get our veterans relocated or resituated into housing?
Well, you know, Sal, that's a really good question. The reason there are different programs is because there needs to be different approaches to help serve homeless and at-risk veterans. And one of the programs we do provide here at through the YWCA, funded through the VA, is the Supported Services for Veteran Families program. And that program starts at the outreach and engagement process. So our case managers actually go out to the shelters, to the streets. We work with our continuum of care partners through a 9-county region, and we locate and engage homeless and at-risk veterans with that program. And then what we can do is we can identify their needs, their housing needs, and try to connect them to a variety of resources so that we're able to quickly move them to permanent housing or keep them in their permanent housing, and then make sure they have whatever it is they need, whether it's benefits or health care or a good job, so that they can stay in that housing and they can maintain their self-sufficiency. So the SSVF program has really been a game changer in this region, and it's one of the most successful programs that we do run here at the YWCA.
How long has SSVF, did I say it correctly this time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how long has that been in existence for our veterans?
Well, I know we've held it since 2014, and it's been in existence some years prior to that. I think 3 or 4. And as a matter of fact, back in 2010, that period of time, there was a real push nationwide to try and reduce veterans' homelessness. And with that push came a number of different programs that really focused on something called Housing First, where we try to quickly house someone into permanent housing so that we know where they're at, they're safe, they're secure, and then we work with them to sustain that housing. And SSVF came along at that time. And it's an interesting statistic that since SSVF and some of these other programs came out in 2010, the number of homeless veterans in America has dropped by 55%. So that's a pretty good success rate for, our homeless veterans. Although one is too many, that program and a number of the other ones have really made a significant difference in reducing veteran homelessness, not just here in Central PA, but across the country.
Now, you said something that I really found intriguing. You mentioned going out into the community, to the shelters and in the streets to reach out to veterans. Am I interpreting that correctly?
That's correct. Yes, our case managers actually go to the if there's like they call them tent cities, but if there's like a homeless encampment, we go to the shelters, the food, soup kitchens. Homeless veterans also frequently hang out in places that are public and have restrooms, like libraries. They may be in shopping centers. They may be in truck stops. They're in their cars. So we really try to reach out throughout the community and locate them where they're at. And we work with our community partners to try and get the word out that we're here and we're available to help them.
That's awesome. Would you have any kind of data that might suggest I know you'd mentioned the homelessness reduction by about 55%. Would you have any data that would suggest the actual ratio of the greater Harrisburg area reduction compared to the rest of the state or the rest of the country for that matter?
Well, there is some data. So, what I always tell everybody is, always be a little skeptical of numbers and statistics because they're only accurate at the moment they're collected. But currently, one of the benchmarks the federal government uses is called the annual point-in-time count of homeless individuals. And that's traditionally done on the same week or same even night across the country, typically done in January, where agencies and volunteers within the community go out on the streets, go to the shelters, go to the service areas, and we conduct a survey to try and determine who's homeless in America. And one of the questions that we ask is, has someone served in the armed forces? That's how we develop that point in time, or you might hear the term PIT count. Now, that PIT count has been going on for a long time. It was a little bit, fuzzy during COVID because they didn't do street counts per se. There weren't a lot of going out on the streets in those areas during COVID. So if you look at numbers from, 2020 and 21, even 22, they may be a little fuzzy. But if you looked at the most recent ones that have been formally approved, would have been 2022's, overall they counted 33,136 homeless veterans on that one night across America, and they counted 778 in Pennsylvania. And here in the Harrisburg area, they counted 38. So if you went to the HUD site and you Googled, overall homeless counts, veterans, you can actually locate data there that's going to show the declines. And I'm going to try and pull up. I actually have a slide here, and it looks like the decline from the prior year, 21 to 22, was about 11%. For Harrisburg, I'm sorry, I don't have that at the tip of my finger, but I would just say you could also go to the Capital Area Coalition on Homelessness' website. That's the continuum of care for Dauphin County, for example, if you wanted to do Dauphin County's numbers. And there's actually a pretty good breakdown of not just veteran, but overall homelessness within our continuum. for Dauphin County, and it discusses declines and changes and things like that in the report. It's posted online. You would just have to look at CACH, Dauphin County Continuous Care, and you could go right in there and read the reports. But this information is posted also on the HUD website.
Could you give me that number again? It was 31,300.
31,136 was the pit count for homeless veterans in 2022.
Okay.
On one night. And why I say that one given night, Sal, is because the average number of homeless veterans over a whole year is typically between 2 and 3 times that number, because we're collecting our information on one night in January, but there may be someone who's not homeless in January who's homeless in June, or maybe they're homeless in September. And with homelessness, we actually see different veterans homeless different times of the year. So that number is probably 2 to 3 times that number. And as an example, last year in 2022, the VA had a challenge to try and house 33,136 veterans in 1 year that were homeless. And they actually housed over 44,000.
Okay.
So the point of that being that there are more homeless veterans out there than that. But that is just one of the established ways of kind of looking, every year, if that one night the number declines or increases, kind of tells the trend and what's been going on.
Right. I think one of the things that I found astounding and amazing that you had mentioned earlier was actually going out into the community and into the streets to find folks to visit with. And the question that is burning in my mind is, who else is doing that? Well, go ahead, because I'm not real sure that there's a whole lot of people actually that committed, that passionate to not sit around and just wait for somebody to come to their door.
Well, I would say this. Every community is a little different, and the ability to do that's a little different.
Okay, good point.
So, like here in Dauphin County in the city of Harrisburg, every Thursday morning, a whole group of agencies get together and go out to the streets, go under the bridges, go down to the encampments, and we reach out and try and provide services to homeless individuals. And that's just the unified response from the providers. There's also individual nonprofits like ours or other agencies or groups that go out and feed the homeless or reach out to the homeless. I think of things like Bethesda Mission's Mobile Mission, for example, that goes out on Friday and Saturday evenings to help. And I think of some groups from Christian Church United and some of the other groups that are out there regularly. And we also have the day shelter, for example, down at Downtown Daily Bread, where there's a lot of contact with homeless individuals, including veterans within Dauphin County, and especially in the city of Harrisburg. Now, if you get out into rural communities where there's not as many people are more dispersed, you probably don't have that same kind of regularly occurring outreach, because one of the challenges would be, where do you reach out to? So if I think about just a county like Dauphin, for example, in a more rural area, maybe you would do an outreach to maybe a truck stop off one of the highways, or maybe a parking lot where at one of the stores where, it would be open late at night and there would be bathrooms, for example, those kinds of places. But, sadly, with homelessness, you're gonna typically locate more the more people you have in an area, and therefore a city or a town is going to have a higher concentration typically of homeless, including veterans, than maybe more rural communities. So the challenges are different depending on where you're looking.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm glad I started to bring that up, because I would not have thought of that, as far as comparing apples to apples and realizing, that there are different reasons why things may or may not be happening. The same across the board. We are going to go to a commercial break just now, And when we come back, we're going to talk with Bill about some of the history of the Harrisburg YWCA. So we welcome you back just after these messages. It's time to reclaim your moments and shift from no time to go time. Whether you crave a long vacation on the open road or love exploring city streets while on a business trip, we're here to help you go wherever the road may lead in any car you choose. Let's go. When you need an electrical contractor, what is the most important thing to your family? Safety, right? The good folks at County Electrical and Mechanical want the exact same thing for your family. In fact, they put every effort into their work to offer a safe, custom solution unique to your needs. Whether it's upgrading equipment, adding outlets, or a brand new service, commercial or residential, their goal is to satisfy every customer requirement safely and promptly. When you want to have work done and know your family is safe and the work is done right the first time, call County Electrical and Mechanical at 570-527-8107. That number again is 570-527-8107. Call today.
I'm coming home.
When you say you support the troops, do you mean it? Hi, this is Lou Diamond Phillips for the Veterans of Foreign Wars. Every day, more service members are coming home from combat. In many cases, they return to no job, no money, and a lifetime of stress. That's where the VFW steps in, providing emergency financial support with their Unmet Needs program. For over 100 years, no one has done more for veterans than the VFW.
Please help us help them by calling 1-855-9-HELP-VET.
Welcome once again with your host, Sal Santori, and let's get back to the show. How would somebody in the community, veteran or non-veteran, how would someone reach out to the Y? Where would they reach out to find out what may be available, to even discuss possible options?
Well, that's a great question. So people can always call the YWCA directly at 717-234-7931. They can email me at wreed@ywcahbg.org. That's WREED at ywcahbg.org. They can go to our website. They can call 211 and go through coordinated entry and the helpline and say, I need veteran services. They can stop by here at 1101 Market Street and say, hey, I'm here, I'm a veteran, I'm homeless, or I'm at risk and I need to talk to a veterans rep, or any of our community partners. We have a really great continuum of care here in Dauphin County. We know each other, we support each other. So just simply saying I'm a veteran, I served, and I need assistance, and we can get them connected to us and all the other veteran providers here in Dauphin County.
Bill, if you have another couple of minutes, I'm going to go ahead and continue with this show. And what I'll do when it gets to the editor's desk, we'll ask them to split it into two half-hour segments. Do you have...
Sure. You
okay.
haven't down yet, and I would love to try and get word out about the stand down.
That was our next topic, yes. In fact, yeah, I had the flyer right here on my desk, and this is huge. This is absolutely huge, and Bill, I'm just going to let you take it away.
Okay, so we're super excited. When we first started doing veteran services back in 2006, we met with some community partners, and it was realized we should hold a veteran stand down. And what a veteran stand down is an event where veterans can come and receive a variety of services in an environment that's safe and nurturing. And it comes from a military term where they would take soldiers from the front line and they would move them to the back to a safer area, and they would have them stand down from being in direct conflict. They would stand down, and they would stand down and rest and recoup and receive services. And so this term, stand down, has been around, I think, since the 70s. And we held our first stand down in 2006. And I think there was about 20 volunteers and about 12 homeless veterans came to this event. And this will be our 17th year. We're going to hold our stand down this year at the PA Farm Show Complex West Hall on Saturday, April the 1st from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And this event is phenomenal. If you know someone who's a veteran, homeless, at risk, just in need of services, or just wants to know how to connect to services, I would invite them to come to the stand down. Again, it's at the PA Farm Show. There's free parking off of the McClay Street turn in. Just come in off of McClay Street. There'll be signs to direct folks to the parking. The event is free. Lunch is provided, and there's services, VA services, mainstream services, healthcare, mental health, wellness, recovery, employment. We have employers there providing jobs. We have all kinds of basic needs. The PAA Food Bank, food share folks are going to be there. We're going to have, I think we're even going to have a tiny home there. We're going to have it all. So this is just an awesome opportunity for veterans to come out and talk to folks about benefits, services. We're going to have, I think, even hospice, some aging services, state employment services, so equine therapy. So I believe we're going to have a horse this year. If you're not aware, with one of the most successful ways to deal with PTSD and to combat things like veteran suicide is equine therapy and animal service animal and therapy based on those. So we're going to have the service animals, the dogs there. We're going to have the equine. We're going to have a whole wellness area, recovery, both VA vet centers, plus mainstream private providers. And again, just a lot of great services. A person, all they need to do is come in if they're a veteran, if they serve. They don't have to bring their DD-214. They don't have to bring their VA ID card. All they have to do is come in and answer a few short questions. We collect just the tiniest little bit of information so we sort of know who comes to the event, and then they can go in and just take advantage of all these great things. Last year we had 115 veterans come to the event. The average age was 59, but we had veterans as young as 25 and as old as 86.
Amazing.
Yeah, there's something for everybody. And what I would say is, if you served in the military and you're unsure if you should go, you should go.
Right.
We want to see you there.
Right.
And it's not a high pressure thing. You come in. You can just walk around. Mission Barbecue is going to feed you some great chow at lunch for free. You can just sort of purview the services are there, and if you want to get fully engaged or you're in a crisis, I'm telling you, we save someone every year. It's just the most wonderful event, and we've always been supported by the most wonderful sponsors. We're really fortunate. It's our third year. The PA Farm Show has allowed us to use their facilities, so there's plenty of parking and lots of room.
Is there, I know a lot of stand downs I've been to, haircuts are offered, so I would ask that question, will that be an option? And also hygiene, immediate hygiene. Will it be possible for some of our guys and girls who may be tent bound to be able to clean up, take a shower? Is any of that possible at this stand down?
Well, and it's interesting you would say that. Traditionally, our stand down would have been Friday through Sunday morning. When COVID hit, we weren't able to do that. We weren't able to congregate overnight. The stand down has really grown. We weren't able this year. We were hoping to have a weekend-long stand down where we would have more of the camping out and sleeping over kind of event. We didn't do that this year. We're hoping to have access to facilities to be able to do that next year again, plus have access to this larger venue where we can bring more providers in. We are going to have haircuts. What I would say, if someone comes in and they're tent bound and they need to get access to showers, tell us you need to go someplace where we can get you access to showers. And we'll do everything in our power to make that happen. And what's more, hey, maybe we'll house you also. How's that sound?
That's beautiful.
So you don't have to live in a tent.
This is what I'm talking about, folks. My friend Bill and his passion. No is not like in his vocabulary, I don't think. It's like, if you need it, we'll find a way to make it happen. We'll find a way to accommodate you. That You're awesome, Bill. I love you, man. I really do.
Well, thanks, brother.
Yeah. Transportation. Is there, and I already know part of this answer. If someone were to call to the Y and let you know that they want to come to the stand down, but they have no way to get there, I know you would send some transportation to bring them to the stand down. Is there any type of like more than individual transportation available? Like, will there be a van able to go out into the community, or is any of that possible?
So what we're going to do is we're coordinating with the van run for our York area veterans. We typically work with Lancaster and with the veteran programs there, and they'll typically pick up folks and bring from that area. For Dauphin County, we actually have van pickups. They're going to start at 8 o'clock. We actually have a transportation schedule that we're going to put out on the web and post all over the community. We're going to pick up people at the bus station, the 4th and Chestnut, over by the encampment on the 83 overpass near PennDOT, the CMU parking lot, Cameron Street at the YMCA, downtown Daily Bread, the Robert Jackson House, the Mission. We're also doing separate runs to Steelton and Middletown as needed. And there's a few apartment areas where there's higher concentration of veterans. We'll run there. But what I would say, and I think you're exactly right, if what I just said wasn't where you live and you want to try to get to the stand down, please reach out and talk to me and let me know. And we'll do everything in our power to try and get you to this event. We really want you to come out to the event. We really want you to take advantage of it. So please don't hesitate to reach out and contact me if you're not near one of those places I described. And Sal, I'll be sure to send this flyer to you. And again, it'll be posted. We'll try and get up on the Capital Coalition of Homelessness website and get it out throughout the community so people can get here and get to the event.
Awesome. Could I ask you to repeat the contact info for you and the Y once again, Bill?
Sure. My number is just call the main number, 717-234-7931. And the reason why I give that number is because even on the day of the event, there'll be someone here at the Y answering the phone. And if you call and say you're asking something about the stand down, they'll get you to the phone at the stand down to the right person to talk to. So that coordination will happen. And throughout the week until the event, if you call that number, just ask for Veterans Department, say you're interested in stand down information, and they'll connect you. And then my email is WREED@YWCAHBG.org. You can also go to our website, which is www.ywcahbg.org, and just zoom in there and check out the Veterans Department, and there'll be information on the stand down also.
Excellent. If any of our listeners are aware of anybody that may not wish to reach out themselves, but you'd like to have them get some services, you can call as well and ask what you might be able to do to help the person in need that you're considering and thinking about. The worst thing we want to have is someone who's left out of the loop, so to speak, or left out of services because either they really don't wish to pursue it for whatever reason, or the other side of that coin is somebody's aware of them but doesn't want to butt into their business, so to speak, and make it your business to do so.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, and you'll be surprised that you can save a life doing that. That's a big deal.
Yeah. Bill, thank you so very, very much for the time that you've spent here with me and our audience. Invaluable, and I know there's a ton of more help and resources that we need to delve into, and we will do so at our very next opportunity. So until we get to speak again, I want to thank Bill on behalf of our listeners and remind everybody to please find someone to help. Thank you, and until next time, this is Sal Santori. Have a great week.